Luckily, one bullet just passed by his head like this. And of course, he collapsed and goodness left. But he survived. With the surgery, he survived. So I said, why? Why your uncle sent? Because of the uncle and his father, they were two brothers. They were fighting over the family property. So I said, if this is the case, make sure that you don't create the same fight amongst your children. I said, before you leave the world, you have to make sure that your children, they have a clean divide of their properties. Otherwise, you fight for the wealth to protect your children. In a way, you're passing down the fights to the children. Children, you should fight again, right? Again, you have the wealth. Your children will again fight over the wealth. So if you make clean the division of your wealth for the children, then children, they know exactly what they get, what others get. They will not fight. And he said that, yes, I already did it. Okay, so these are the problems. This is the reality of the life. So what I'm saying is that there are two kinds of people. One, religious people who say that it's purely mental, ignoring the external. And another category, always working for thinking that with external, you will get the ultimate happiness. They're forgetting the internal. So now what should we do? That don't compromise your external growth, external successes. Don't compromise that. Meanwhile, don't compromise your mental. Don't ignore the mental, managing the mental emotions. So these two must go hand in hand. Only few people who can just ignore the material and focus completely on the mental and then become saints. These are different people. There are only few people. But majority of us, we can't expect to become one like, for example, in Tibet, there used to be one great enlightened being by the name Geshe Milarepa. And how many of you have heard of Geshe Milarepa? Raise hands. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, some of you, yes. If you've not heard about him, you must read his biography. Nowadays, his biography is available in English. You must read his biography. It's very, very inspiring, extremely inspiring. Just make it very simple. Milarepa. Jesun is the respect. Say, like an epithet given to him. Otherwise, the plain name is Milarepa, M-I-L-A-R-E-P-A. You must read this biography. It's extremely entertaining and also greatly inspiring. You must read it. So his biography, the full biography, is split into two. The first one is his life story, how he became a saint. From ordinary person, becoming a black magician because of the family issues. And then finally, he gave up his.
You must read it.
The black magician.
So his biography, the full biography, is split into two.
Joined the
The first one is his life story, how he became a saint.
How he went through
from ordinary person, becoming a black magician.
Training meaning, I say, the very difficult, the trainings that he went through under his teacher, and finally he became enlightened. It's very inspiring story. You must read that. Geshe Milarepa. Okay, so the point is that we see that, I'm sure that we all will agree with me, that say, even if materially you may be poor, but your mind can still be very happy. How many agree with me? Yes. But do you want to become one like that, materially poor and be happy? In real life, you may say no, right? Material, I don't want to be poor. Don't become poor. Don't be poor. So, okay. So with this in mind, the point is that, what I like to suggest is that, say, material success, continue. In whatever capacity you can reach, the height of your material success, go for it. There's no harm in it. At the same time, don't compromise your managing the emotions. Finally, whether you're happy or not is determined by your mental state. So both are to be, tackled, hand in hand. So with this in mind, the next is that when are you most unhappy? This is the question. When are you mentally disturbed? This question. So the mental disturbance, unhappiness, sadness, bewilderment, and confusion, and so forth, all these, the depression, all these are happening where? On the level of the mental. And of course, if you are associated with the neuroscience, you may say, it's not really mental, there's nothing really mental, it's purely in brain, right? Okay, so that relationship in the brain and the mind, this is something to be discussed. Again, if you are really interested in this, we can talk about it, but I need to know that you are interested in this, meaning that you have some serious points, not as a separate subject of interest. So the point is that it's happening on what is known as one is the material, wealth, power, position, relationship, and so forth, and the other one is the mental. So physical and mental. And then within the mental, you want to go more in detail into neuroscience and the psychology. That is again a separate subject. For time being, let's keep that aside. Next is that if there is mental, how do we manage the emotions? So material, yes, I'll try my best, but it does not guarantee that I will be very happy. Billionaires, they have to suffer stress, anxiety. And the most powerful people, they also have to go through stress and anxiety. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, many years ago, when he used to travel a lot all around the world, once shared in the public that His Holiness was invited for a meal or for the lunch by a vice chancellor of a very prominent university. And His Holiness just happened to peep through the closet and saw the tranquilizers. What are the tranquilizers? You're not getting sleep. Why not getting sleep? Because of mental stress. So financially, vice chancellor means financially, particularly vice chancellor of a reputed university. Financially, no problem. Respect, no problem. Education, no problem. Why you are not having sleep? Tell me, anyone. Why he or she is not having sleep? Why? Stress. Stress created by no money, no power, no respect, no education? No. Why? Something else. Something which is mental. Something which is mental. So then comes, what is this mind? Number one. What is this mind? The map of the mind. What is this mind? Number one. Number two, if these problems can be solved, number one, we have to know what is mind. Number two, so within the mind, what is happening for you to take the tranquilizers? Why? What is happening? What's the process? Two things. Once you know that, then we will know how to tackle it. Okay. To make it very quick, first, what is mind? What is mind first? What is mind? Okay, how many of you have some sense what mind, or anybody from psychology background, raise hands? Anybody from psychology background, or so you have taken the psychology as a subject, major or minor, whatever? No one. Okay, anybody who's interested in knowing what mind is? Good. In fact, when I was in my 20s, after completing my high school, then joined the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics to study philosophy and psychology, and in the studies that I was involved with involves it's all about the psychology, how the mind works. And first, before I talk about how the mind works, how to manage the mind, what is mind? So I was so curious as a young boy, age maybe 20, 21, I was so curious what the mind is. And then one of my teachers, who was of course, he was not my academic teacher, but as a personal mentor, who was I don't know whether Dr. Anida, you know him. You met him? Okay. In fact, he is a lifelong retreatant in the mountains, meditating on the mind. And many interesting anecdotes with him. And I asked him, as a very naive young boy, I asked him, Venerable Sir, I don't see mind. To talk about to manage the mind, first I have to know what the mind is. I can't see my mind. I was looking at it, I don't see it. How many of you tried to see the mind? Did you try? Or not tried? Raise hands. I've not tried to see the mind. Raise hands. Huh? What are those hands? Okay. If you've not tried, you want to try what the mind is like? How many want to try? Raise hands. Oh, that's interesting. Good. If you like to try, this is extremely important, what mind is. Mind, let's say, for example, let's say that, okay, first, before we go into what mind is, let me ask you one question. That you said that you all have some degree of stress, anxiety, or the sadness, and so forth. Say, these experiences that you went through, are they desirable or not desirable? Not desirable in a sense. These experiences, sadness, stress, depression, they are not desirable in a sense. Okay, not desirable, when you say these experiences, not desirable, yet I've been through these experiences. So these experiences, are they empirical or they are just mental makeup? You are just imagining, or they're really the undesirable experiences? Just tell me. This is very important. They are the real problems or just mental makeup? Okay, real problem, real sense. They're real. Real means they're empirical. You're getting it? They are not just mentally conceived. These are empirical realities. My problems, stress, depression, sadness, anger. How many had the experience of anger? Raise hands. Go on. How many go-ons have the experience of anger? Okay, so the elder ones, they don't have the anger? Right? Okay, maybe elders, we are expert in anger. Right? Okay, so these are empirical realities. This is not something that they say, religious teacher said that, oh, there's anger. No, this is what you can experience. You don't like it. People don't like you become angry. So these are known as the empirical realities of the mind. Empirical realities. These are not what your mind conceptualizes, what your mind imagines. These are not just imaginary phenomena. These are real life phenomena. You getting it? So now, this is all happening on what is known as the mind. So the question is, what is mind? This question. So for this, yes, we have this text, but don't worry, it is about like, I think 60-something verses. 58 verses are there. From these 58 verses, it's quite technical. The first 36 verses, they are quite technical. And so what we're doing at the moment, we are creating the background. We're creating the foundation for all these technical studies. You're getting it? It's about the philosophy. So, and how the philosophy connected to what we do now. This is something which we have to be very clear. It's not just, okay, we finished this chapter about the mind. Now we move to the philosophy. It's not like these two are closely connected. So for this matter, what is mind? Okay, how many are really interested? Because I don't want to spend too much time on this if you're not really interested. I'd like to see what the mind is. If you're really interested, raise hands. Oh, many. Okay, so which means I have to spend more time on this. Okay. So for this first thing is that the mind, the first you have to acknowledge that stress, depression, sadness, these are real phenomena. These are not just what I'm imagining. You agree? Only if you agree, then we can go to the next steps. Otherwise, we cannot go to the next steps. Then it becomes like a blind faith. If you go blind faith, no point. What we're doing here, this is academic institution. The blind faith thing is not to be encouraged. So, only if you are convinced, yes, that's true. Stress, anxiety, these are real phenomena actually happening within me, and it's not just what I'm just imagining. Even if you imagine that I'm very happy, you are not happy. Even if you imagine that I'm stressed, I'm not stressed. Stress is a real phenomena. You're getting it? Somebody abuses you, then you become sad, angry, stressed, and sometimes even depressed. Okay, so these are the real phenomena known as empirical realities. So this is happening where? On your mind. How do you know on my mind? What is mind? It may be purely on the synaptic connections. Maybe neurotransmitters being transmitted, or the neural firings. Maybe these are the reasons. May not be the mind. Okay. So for this, what is mind? Before we say it is happening on the level of the mind, what is mind? So for this, what I would say is that just see if you agree with me. If you don't agree, you don't have to go to the next step. Only if you agree, you can go to the next step. The question is that can you think of you being cuddled, you as a little boy or as a little girl? For the girls, as a little girl, or for the boys, as a little boy, maybe age 5 or 6, that your mom is holding you, giving you a hug, right? And you feel so warm and so happy. Can you imagine that? Good. So when you imagine that, you don't have to utter a word that this is what was going in my mind. You're getting it? In a vernacular sense, in a conventional sense, we say that this is happening on the level of my mind. I'm thinking. Thinking meaning I'm thinking. You know that you are thinking. Now, if I give you to a neuroscientist, okay, now check what she is thinking, what he is thinking. I give you, without you uttering even a single word, you're just thinking of, you being cuddled by your mother when you were a little boy, little girl. Then the neuroscientist, his job or her job is to check what you are thinking, because he or she is expert in your brain. So therefore, if what you're thinking is a brain activity, he should be able to see that. She should be able to see that. Now, he or she may put you in the fMRI scan. You're getting it? And what he will see, what she will see, is your brain waves. Brain waves, neural firings, but they don't tell you anything about what's happening on the mental level. You're getting it? This is extremely important. Say, now you ask the neuroscientist, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? He would say, no, I have no clue. That I see that this part of the brain is being activated. This part of the brain is, there is a neural firing happening. This is a brain wave. These are the neurotransmitters transmitted from this part of the brain to the next. Beyond this, I can't see anything. I cannot say what he or she is thinking. You're getting it? Even if you're not from the neuroscience background or neuroscience background, don't worry. So this is known as, in today's world, the neuroscientists, they are deliberately creating dictionaries to connect the mental functions and their brain functions. They're creating dictionaries. What do you mean by dictionaries? Say there's a word. There's a word. Okay, there's a word, Pumba. Okay, think of Pumba. Think of Pumba. Close eyes and meditate on Pumba. You did it? Huh? Why not? The girl over there? Yes, we don't know what is Pumba, isn't? Now what do you do? Oh, this is a Tibetan word. This is a Tibetan word. I give you a clue. So what do? You go to a dictionary. You're getting it? Pumba, right? Pumba, it means vase. V-A-S-E, vase, or a vase or a pot. right? Okay, Pumba means what? So you have to resort to the dictionary. So dictionary connects the word, the alien word, or the unknown word with your own concepts. So these are linked by the dictionary. So what is happening on the brain, on the brain level, and what is the corresponding mental activity, there is no connection. So the dictionary is being created nowadays. You getting it? If you want to know about this phenomena, you must read Michio Kaku's book. This extremely beautiful book. Of course, he is not a neuroscientist. He is a world-renowned physicist, the level of the Nobel laureate. Level of the Nobel laureate, he did not get the Nobel Prize, right? But he's on that level. Michio Kaku. And the book is The Future of the Mind. Future of the Mind. You must read this book. Because that he's an extremely renowned physicist, he has easy access to the data from the neuroscience data. He could easily have data from his neuroscience friends. So it contains lots of neuroscience data. This is an amazing book. You must read that. So he tells us about emotions on the brain level, on the mental level, how these two are connected. So what I'm saying is that there's a phenomenon which the neuroscientists cannot see. You are thinking. You know what you're thinking. Yes, you agree with me? You know that you are thinking, yes, I'm thinking of myself as a young boy or as a young girl, my mom cuddling me. You're thinking of that. But you're not uttering words to tell the neuroscientist that this is what is happening in your mind. And the neuroscientists can see the set of brain waves, neurofirings, but cannot see what you're thinking. You're getting it? What neuroscientists could see, which you cannot see. You cannot see your brain waves. What neuroscientists can see, which you cannot see, that is your brain. Which you experience, which neuroscientists does not have any clue. That is your mind. You getting it? Let me say it again. Which the neuroscientists can see, like the neurofirings, brain waves, and so forth, which you cannot see. When you're in the fMRI scan, you have no clue what's going in your brain, but you have a first-hand experience that I'm thinking of me being cuddled by my mother when I was just age 4, 5, 6. So neuroscientists, what he can see, she can see, which you cannot see, that is your brain. Which you can experience, you are experiencing, which the neuroscientists cannot see, that is your mind. You're getting it? Okay, this is one part. This is something that you have to know so well. And it was in one university where, say, the university, and I happened to be there in the Buddhist Studies department, not in India, abroad. Buddhist Studies department, and the head of the HOD of the department. And when I talked about the brain-mind relationship, and he said, oh, the mind is very abstract, you cannot define what mind is. I was quite shocked, because he's supposed to be the HOD of the Buddhist Studies department, which they said Buddhist Studies specialized in what the mind is. And he said, this is very abstract, we cannot define it, nobody can define it. It's very shocking. So then I explained this, the brain-mind relationship, what neuroscientists can see, what you cannot see, what you can experience, what neuroscientists cannot see. Then he said he doesn't comment at all. Then later on, when he was seeing me off, then he said that I'm hearing this for the first time, this distinction I'm hearing for the first time. Okay. Now, so the next part is, what exactly is this mind? How can I really see that? This is the next part. You're getting it? So from what I explained thus far, did you see the distinction? Although you may not be able to identify what this mind is. For example, you cannot see the air. But without air, we cannot breathe. We can die without air. But we cannot see that. So you know the presence of the air, but you don't see the air. You're getting it? So likewise, as of now, you know the distinction between the brain and the mind a little bit, but you don't really actually feel what this mind is like. So there is a separate technique whereby you can actually see your mind. Of course, not through your eyes. When your eyes sees only the visual objects, mind is not visual. So there's a separate technique. I'm very interested. We will keep that for a separate, I don't know about the session, but as a separate topic, sometimes later, right? Okay. Then the next is that on this phenomena, what is known as the mind, which everybody has, is not physical, yet the neuroscientists cannot see, which we can undeniably experience, and which plays a crucial role in your existence, your well-being, right? Your well-being, say that, why do we have, for example, why do we have the fan? Because okay, I feel hot, you're getting it? I feel hot. And then, whereas even though I may sweat, but mentally if I feel very comfortable, I'll request Dr. Savita, please don't put on the fan, right? Please don't put on, I feel so comfortable here. So last night I was a little confused. I came from Delhi. Delhi at the moment is extremely cold. Extremely cold. For the Goan, it's very cold. For people from other countries, may not be too cold. In the night, it's like 7 degrees centigrade. And Goa, in the night, 20, 21, 22 degrees centigrade. And last night, I put off the AC, I put off the fan, and I was sleeping. And I was feeling a little sweat, but I felt mentally, I felt extremely pleasant. It's very confusing. If you see me sweating, you say, what's the problem? Put on the fan. No, I feel so pleasant, right? When you feel pleasant, the body doesn't matter. You're getting it? Finally, your mind is important. What you feel is important. You feel very pleasant. That is what you want. So, what is that agent that feels? We call it mind. And that is not just, what I could really undeniably feel it. So I was a little confused yesterday. Okay. So that is happening on what is level of the mind, which the distinction which I made, and then to really get hold of what mind is, it requires a separate teaching of a technique to get hold of what the mind is like, to see what the mind is like. And then when I asked this question to my teacher, what is mind? I don't see the mind. And my teacher said that, Dorji, don't you see like a mirror inside you where anything can appear? Where anything, good, bad, anything can appear. Like the mirror, don't you see that? No, I look at it, I don't see anything. I didn't see anything. You're getting it? So that was because, because my mind is not trained to see that subtle phenomena. You're getting it? It has a separate technique to identify, to be able to see what that is like. For example, the analogy that I like to give you here is that if there is a glass, transparent glass, between you and me, if you're like, 2 meters away from me, and we are separate, there's the glass, transparent glass, very clean glass between two of us, and you think that there's nothing in between. Then I tell you that there's a glass in between. So what will you do? You try to touch it, right? I said, don't touch it, right? Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Then what will you do? Hey, tell me. Yeah, go close to it with your ears. Physically, you go, and then what? Observe with your ears. Eyes, you're getting it? So your eyes will observe it very carefully. You're getting it? Sometimes say that the some people, they just come to the hall and they can see, oh, this hall, then they leave. And then if you ask them, what is the color of the curtain, how many tube lights are there, how many people are there, the pillar, beam, so forth, no clue. Some people, they're extremely observant. You're getting it? They'll tell in detail, oh, is a maroon, the curtains, and this number of is all not LED, is all the tube lights, right? And the ceiling is like this. They will describe it all in detail. So likewise, we have to, so for this glass, normally you'll see there's nothing in between us. But when I say this glass, they don't touch it. This glass, you go closer and observe very carefully. Then you will see a glass there. You understand what I'm saying? So likewise, there's a technique whereby you are trained to make your mind so agile and so observant and extremely sensitive to see these subtle things which is beyond the physical reality. You will see that. Okay, there's a separate technique there. And if you want to learn it, yes, we can do that. Not in these 4 sessions. Okay. So with this, now if all these things are happening in this level, what is known as the mind, which is non-tangible, if it is happening there, then the stress, anxiety and so forth, which I don't like, and yet these are happening. So is there a possibility to tackle them? So many of the people will tell you that, oh, these are the realities of life. You have to learn how to face them. In other words, there's no answer. There's no solution. But they say that there's no solution. That's easy, very easy. We don't require this lecture. Right? There's no solution. You have to manage it. You don't require the lectures. Whereas when there's a lecture there on this topic, then there is a solution. So when I say yes, there is a solution, what would be your next question? What is the solution? You are getting it? So in other words, we should learn the skill. We should acquire the skill to ask the correct question. We have to learn the skill to ask the correct question, right? So when I say that yes, there's a skill. When I say no, there's no skill, don't ask how not. You're getting full stop. When I say there's no skill, full stop, right? No lecture required. Only when I say yes, there's a skill, then you will say, what is the skill? And how do you know that this skill will help us? You're getting it? This is so important. So this question, whether or not we can manage these emotions, like stress, okay, emotion like what? Which you don't like. The mental or the situations of life situations which you don't like. Please tell me. Some of the life situations which you don't tell me, elders, youngers. Just raise hands. Yes. Grief, number 1. Yes, the gentleman over there. Abnormalities like what? Abnormalities being so kind? Abnormalities being so effective? Right. It's not that everybody's effective. So if somebody's effective, normally people are not effective. If somebody's extremely effective, that is abnormal. But it's a good abnormality, right? Okay, what abnormalities you're talking about, which you don't like? Don't be too naive, don't be too vague. Let's be more precise. Okay, anyone else? Abandonment, yes. You abandoned, that we are abandoned by somebody, or a child is abandoned by somebody, and even some of the dogs. This is one thing which pains me so much. I say, when the dog is little, it's so cute, you keep them. And the dog grows bigger, his size, then it requires a lot of space, and you don't have space, then you abandon. It's very sad. It does happen. There's over there, the boy. Injustices, yes. Okay, we will inquire into some of these issues. Yes, the girl over there with the brown shirt. You raise hand. Okay, anyone? Yes, yes. Family problem. Be precise. You're scared? Fights, quarrels, fights. Okay, anyone else? Maybe the last one. Quick. Anger. Yes, anger is a severe issue. Yes, over there. Loneliness. Yes. Isolation, loneliness. Okay, let's go one by one. So loneliness, so for me, maybe Dr. Savita, Dr. Anita may take that as a message to them. When I'm put in the guest houses, right? So instead of in the, say, like the private house, I prefer to be in the guest houses, right? I prefer to be in isolation. It's not a problem. You're getting it? For some people, it's a problem. This is loneliness. For me, it's not a problem. This is privacy. You're getting it? It's not a problem. But for some, this is a problem. Loneliness. Okay. Anger. Anger is a big problem, particularly in the family. Workplace and the family, it can be more frequently in the family. In the workplace, if it does happen, yes, then in the family, you multiply that by 2 times, minimum. You're getting it? So this is a serious issue, and you are not happy, and everybody is disturbed. When everybody is disturbed, then next time you cannot go in, because you know that nobody is happy with you. And then the injustices. Injustices, this is a huge problem, right? You are very unhappy. And then what? Abandonment. When somebody abandons you, isolates you, right? This is extremely painful, right? Whereas somebody who's unkind, that person abandons you, well, I feel freedom. It's not abandonment. I feel freedom, I'm fine, I'm freed, right? So that person abandoned, he thinks that he or she is thinking that I'm abandoned, but thank you for giving me freedom. I'm freed now. You're getting it? Okay. What else? Grief is a severe problem. Grief. Okay. Who said it? Grief. Grief is a serious problem. So with the grief, again, it's a mental situation. And what created the grief? Anyone? The death of the near and dear ones is extremely painful, right? Okay, so many people say that this is the reality of life, you have to face it. Again, this is, I would say that it does not really help us to console us. Grief is a serious problem. So, how to manage these problems? You're getting it? How to manage these problems? And in the first place, what is happening? On the mental level, what is happening? It's extremely unhappy. For example, say you're mentally disturbed. You're so mentally disturbed. On a brain level, it's also something's happening. No doubt. You're mentally disturbed. Something's happening on the mental level, brain level, 100%. But you don't know what is happening. You agree with me? Right? So for example, when you're waking state, the part of the brain is very activated. When you fall asleep, that part of the brain which is so active in the daytime, that is less active, and maybe some other part of the brain is more active, right? So we see that the brain, no doubt, brain is some way is being affected, but we are not seeing that. This is the reality. Likewise, on the mental level, uneasiness is happening. But what is that mechanism? If you know this, then you will know how to undo that. You are getting it? So this is where the study of the mind and then the study of the philosophy, both are required. So how the philosophy will come now. Okay, so the point is that what we are going to learn is how to manage our emotions like grief, like injustices, or anger, or isolation, loneliness, or anything left? Huh? Say the feeling of the hurt because of somebody's abusive words, bad words, right? So there, how to manage your emotion. Okay, let's say somebody tells you that, okay, let's say, okay, Dr. Savitaji, right? Don't feel offended. If I say that, what a stupid professor, right? Okay, so how many of you think that if somebody really said it, if I were Professor Savitaji, I'll be very offended, raise hands? Be very honest. I'll be very offended, raise hands. If you are Professor Savitaji and in public somebody says that you are a very stupid professor, you'll be very offended, raise hands. Be very honest. Very good. Okay. Whereas, just imagine that if a three-year-old boy in public suddenly comes and says, what a stupid professor, right? Will you be angry or you'll find it very cute? It's very cute, right? So cute. You're able to say somebody is a professor. This is amazing. It's so cute, right? Okay. So it's the same thing, but you don't feel offended. But when the elders say that same thing, it offends you so badly. You're getting it? So what is really happening in your mind? What is the mechanism? Why, in one case, it gives you a sense of joy, amusement. A tiny boy, tiny girl, just age 2, 3, who can hardly walk, right? It says that you are a stupid professor, right? That's amazing, very cute. But then this adult saying a stupid professor, then most likely, right, that person will be sued, right? Okay, so what is happening? What is the mechanism? This is the point. So for the mechanism I like to discuss, it's all about your mental activities. Mechanism meaning is the activity of your mind, mental activities, how the mind works. And of course, don't be scared. I'll give you bigger list, right? I'm not going through all this list just to tell you that if you really want to manage your mind so well, and if you want to help your parents, your family members, your friends, then these are things you have to go into more detail. For example, like here, here, here. Don't be scared. I'm not going to go through them today. Not even these all the 4 sessions. I'm not going through all these things. Don't worry. Okay. So just look at these. Say how the mind works. How the mind works. We have to know how the mind works. It's the function of your mind. You have to study them so well. And this is a brilliant psychology taught by the 5th century great Indian master Arya Asanga, his brother Acharya Vasubandhu. These great teachers, they taught these. It's amazing. It's amazing psychology. And just see that they actually make sense to your mind, how the mind works. So looking at the mechanism of the mind. So for this, we see that there are thousands of different functions of the mind. And in some cases, let's say by the way, say the functions of the mind associated with your mind, we call them mental factors. So given that, okay, do you agree with me? There are some of you may be academically extremely successful, but PR, what is PR? Public relation is 0, right? Social emotional relation is just 0. Horrible. Academically extremely shining, so smart, but PR is 0. Some people, PR is just amazing, academically hopeless, right? And some people, right, say they are so compassionate, but when you tell them physics or mathematics, quantum mechanics, relativity theory, instantly the mind goes like this. And some people, quantum mechanics is extremely vibrant, compassion, hopeless, right? And academically extremely smart. Hey, now let us meditate. Meditate instead of falling asleep. Some people, they're so good at meditation, academically or say cognitively, extremely dull, right? And some people, they know how to talk so nicely, very convincing, right? But action-wise, zero. Some people, action-wise, is amazing. How they talk is horrible, right? So these are all related to your mind. Even how you talk, that's also determined by your mind. And how your public relationship is all about your mind. Your mind decides all these things. So how many such different functions are there? There are millions of mental functions are there. Of these millions of functions of the mind, there are 51 mental functions which are extremely relevant to our, to our well-being. Because of which, these are categorized into 6 different sets. And of these, I want to touch only the first set. First set, the 5 ever-present mental factors, 5 functions. So we will learn this, and then on that basis, you will see that, wow, this is how the mind works. And then while after studying this, I would ask each one of us to make sure that what we have learned actually, is it really happening in my day-to-day life every day? Your mind works when? How long your mind works? 10 hours or 24 hours or 1 hour or 5 hours? Your mind works 24 hours, 24/7. You're sleeping, your mind works, right? Maybe less active. And sometimes the dream, nightmares, extremely active. So, in other words, your mind works 24/7. So, how is that working? How is my mind working? So, there are 51 which are particularly picked up out of the millions, but we're going to touch only the first set of the 5 omnipresent mental factors, 5 ever-present mental factors. Okay, what are these 5? What is this 5? So we need to be very clear. And if you have these 5 on your fingertips, and then later on, every time you're angry, just see how these 5 are activated within you. Where I'm going wrong, which of the 5 I'm going wrong, where my mind is very close, where my mind is distorted. So where? Just see what are the things where I'm going wrong. You have to check on this 5. And then later, if you really are very, very serious, wow, this is very interesting thing. It's directly relevant to my real life. I can see that in my family also. I can see that happening with my parents, with my children, with my husband, with my wife, and so forth. Then you want to study more, you can study the remaining parts as well. So we have a separate whole syllabus on this. And of course, I will leave this PowerPoint presentation with Dr. Savideji. Feel free to get it from her. Okay. So we will study this first. The 5 ever-present mental factors, how the mind works, and then see how true it is, how efficacious it is that your mind actually works on the basis of these 5 functions. Okay, let's say that, the loneliness, let's say injustice. Gentleman over there, young boy, what's your name? Mark. Mark, would you mind giving an example of injustice? Sorry? Okay, now he's putting me into politics. Please don't put him into politics. You're getting it? I may say something and then the newspaper may come up, right? Okay, don't put me into a problem. Injustice like what? Can you give me an example? Be more precise. Okay. Okay. So this is more very private matters, and if people are going through this process, right? There says I'm not really. You say I want to deal with anything that you bring up. These are more private matters. So one thing that I may share with all of you, is that, say, the husband-wife relationship, is that one time I was in a conference, and the husband is a very senior professor, and we are very close friends. And husband told me that after the conference, you will come to stay with me for 5 days. I said, no, I already did a room booking. He said, don't worry, come. I said, no, I'm serious. I already booked a room. I already paid. He said, don't worry, just let go of that. You come to stay with me. I already stayed with he and his wife, I think for about like 3 days, 4 days, a year ago. And he was so insane, and he's a very senior professor. So of course I respect him a lot. So with this finally, I said, okay. Then once the conference finished, I told him that, okay, now first you have to inform your wife that you are bringing me. And then he said, yes. Then I told him, call her now. He said, no, I will call him later. Now you understand what's going there. So we are in his car. And then I said, okay, now call. He said, no, we're in the middle of the way, then I'll call her. Okay. Then in the middle, I know the way, and then I asked, now you have to call him. So he said, oh, let reach there, he will call. And reached, closer to reaching there, then he called. And the wife said, yes. And reached the home. Reached in the home, the husband was pushing me to go first. Right? Why? You are my host. You should show me the house. And he said, no, you go first. Right? And the wife was just standing at the door with the two hands behind like policemen. Like a policeman, like, this is not her style. I know her so well. This is not her style, but this is very different. She was standing with two hands at the back, like a policeman at the gate, not at the entrance at the door of the house. And then I said, good evening. She said, good evening, Dorji. This is not her style. His style, she's extremely gentle lady, but this is very different. She said, good evening, Dorji. Then I got it. And then the professor was following me. And still I didn't know what was happening. But something is wrong. Then after a while, then I called the professor. Professor says, let's say professor's name is Mr. A. Professor A.G. G, with the G. Then the lady blasted. Dorji, he does not deserve G. Then I realized, why he was insisting to, first of all, come with him and then go first. Okay, so this was the relationship. Very unhealthy relationship. You're getting it? Okay, so then what is happening is that, so there are two possibilities. That he goes by himself, or that he brings me along, like his armor, right? There are two options. Of the two, he preferred the second one, where I'm there as his armor, right? Okay, so now let's see these. Let us look at these 5. Let's say contact. Say his mind. Okay, think of the two situations where he's going by himself, not without me. Number 2, he's going with me. 2 scenarios where in both cases he has to come in contact with his wife. Yes? The mind. His mind has contact with the wife, right? Meet with the wife. Number one, contact. With the contact, is this lady, the wife, right? So you have to pay attention, right? You pay attention, and then what is number three? Discrimination, that yes, she is the one, right? Yes, she is the one. Then what? Feeling, right? She is the one. Then the feeling is pleasant, unpleasant. Unpleasant feeling, right? Unpleasant feeling. Oh, something might have happened between two of them before. Unpleasant feeling coming. You're getting it? Unpleasant feeling. So this unpleasant feeling he doesn't like. He doesn't like it. So what triggered the unpleasant feeling? Meeting with the wife. You're getting it? So because that he cannot run away from the wife, so therefore unpleasant feeling will continue to be there. So this, although his mind wants to run away from unpleasant feeling, but the situation continues to make him be in the present feeling. So the intention to run away, intention. Last one is intention to run away from this, the trigger of the unpleasant feeling. What is the trigger of the unpleasant feeling? Meeting with the wife, right? Now for the wife, meeting with the husband, right? So this unpleasant feeling. So this intention to run away from this trigger of the unpleasant feeling. Because he cannot run, there's a resistance. There's resistance, constant struggle. That struggle is known as mental stress. You getting it? So in which of the two cases that the unpleasant feeling is less? With me or without me? The unpleasant feeling is less, him meeting with the wife or him meeting with wife with me. With me, the unpleasant feeling is less. So because that he doesn't want unpleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling gives rise to the stress. So the more the unpleasant feeling, more the stress. Less the unpleasant feeling, less the stress. So there is only one choice for him, right? He cannot leave the wife, right? The only choice is go for the less evil. Which is less evil? With me or without me? With me. So therefore he brought me. You're getting it? So this is how the mind works. How the mind works. So say the grief. With the grief. So grief is actually happening on the level of number 5. What is that? Intention. Intention, let's say the intention not to feel this, not to feel the pain. Not to feel the pain. So what triggered the pain? The loss of near and dear ones. Let's say loss of the mother. In my case, I lost my mother when I was 5 years old. So loss of the mother, that was the trigger. So this mind, intention, does not want the loss of the mother. Yet I cannot do away from the loss of the mother. It's already happened. So it has to struggle, keep struggling. That struggle is the resistance. That resistance, that resistance is a stress, mental stress. If the resistance is extremely intense, it is anxiety. So oftentimes, nowadays, people come up with the anxiety attack quite often. For example, I meet with friends who have anxiety attacks. So, whereas if this, say, resistance is for a prolonged period, it can make you go into depression. So this situation. So this is how the mind works. Now, let's say that this husband-wife, the intention, right? Intention, mental disturbance. If he doesn't want that, what should he do? Think of these 5. What should we do? He should reduce the unpleasant feeling. Go up. Intention, keep resisting. If you want to make it, instead of resisting, if you want to embrace it, at the moment it's resisting. Resisting is stress. Embracing is beautiful. You're getting it? Embracing is beautiful. Now, sure, the embrace is not happening. When will the embrace happen? When feeling is Pleasant. You're getting it? If the feeling is pleasant, then the embrace happens. Feeling is unpleasant, rejection happens. That rejection, when you cannot reject the object, but you're trying to reject it, that is a resistance. That is a stress. So, if you don't want the stress, then you have to fix the intention. How to fix the intention? Intention is determined by the feeling. You have to change the feeling from unpleasant to the pleasant. You getting it? Okay. Let's take the example of the loneliness. Gentleman over there, what's your name? Who brought the issue of the loneliness? Hey, the gentleman over there. Your name, sorry? Vivina. Vivek. Okay, let's say, Vivek, you brought the problem of the loneliness, right? Say, you're lonely, you feel lonely. And when you say lonely, the feeling is pleasant or unpleasant? Unpleasant. You're getting it? So you like it or you don't like this unpleasant feeling? You don't like it. Because you don't like this unpleasant feeling, your mind will reject the trigger of this. What's the trigger of this? That you are alone. That you are alone may not be loneliness, can be privacy also. But you see that as loneliness. So you want to reject this, to be alone. You want to reject it. But you cannot reject it, you're already there, right? So you have to continue, your mind will continue to reject it against the situation. So that trying to reject and not being able to reject it fully, that is a resistance. That is stress. Okay, so that is because of so we have to know this very thoroughly today. Then tomorrow we will start with the philosophy. You're getting it? So this is laying the ground for us. So this resistance is coming because of this resistance intention, on the intention level. Number 5, this is happening because of feeling, unpleasant feeling. You're getting it? So if you don't want the resistance, if you don't want the mental stress, you have to change the feeling. Change the feeling from unpleasant to pleasant. Very good. Okay. So say, in the case of Vivek, right? Oh, it's very lonely, right? It's very lonely. So this unpleasant feeling is coming from, you go up. Discrimination that I am alone. I am alone by myself. Not with my mom, not with my dad, husband, wife, children, right? I'm alone. That is the discrimination. You're getting it? That's the discrimination. So what's the problem with alone? Then I don't get food, right? I cannot go alone by myself, right? Okay, so this is known as loneliness. So this discrimination, when you describe yourself being alone as lonely, that I'm lonely, I'm feeling lonely, then the feeling is unpleasant feeling. Unpleasant feeling, the intention will reject it. This rejection is the mental stress. You're getting it? If you don't want the unpleasant feel, say the mental stress is happening on the level number 5, intention to reject the trigger. So how to remove the intention in the form of rejection? By changing the feeling unpleasant feeling to pleasant feeling. If you want to change the unpleasant feeling to pleasant feeling, what should you do? You should change the discrimination. You are getting it? Discrimination, what? Let's say, to give very simple. So then, before I wind up for today, discrimination, to make it very simple, very easy, let's say that, wow, I feel such a privacy, right? You're lonely. You're by yourself. You're by yourself, it depends on you. Oh, I have such a privacy, or I'm alone, I'm lonely, right? You're alone. But alone doesn't mean that it's lonely. Alone can be privacy, right? What a privacy. What's the feeling? Pleasant and unpleasant? Pleasant feeling. You like it? You don't like it? You like it. So what triggers this pleasant feeling? You will embrace it. What triggers this pleasant feeling? Being lonely. Being alone. Being lonely. Being alone. Being alone is the trigger for you to feel this pleasant feeling. So because that is the trigger, the pleasant feeling, you'll embrace it. Embrace it, will not resist. You're getting it? So that is a calmness, right? Particularly when you go away from home, you reach to a place where you are by yourself, and then your face will glow, right? That means you are not feeling lonely. You're feeling privacy. You're getting it? Okay, don't take it negatively, right? Okay, so the point is that so now the key lies where? If you want to manage the mental health, the key lies, finally what is happening on the intention level. To fix that, we have to fix the feeling. To fix the feeling, we have to fix the discrimination. You're getting it? So therefore, the Buddha emphasized so much on cultivating the wisdom to change the discrimination. How do we change the discrimination? You are getting it? So now with this, before I wind up for this class, I will quickly share with you, okay, these are all the details. I will not go through these. Okay. Okay, I'll quickly touch this and then we'll stop here. Managing the emotions. Managing emotions. That's the first. Building the power and the gravity of the concentration. So we talked about out of the 5 ever-present mental factors, what is number 5? Now you should have all these on your fingertips. You're getting it? If you don't have these on your fingertips, then from tomorrow I will not go back to the slide all the time. You're getting it? You have to have this slide in your mind, by heart. What are they? What are the 5? Remember? Number 1 through 2, number 5. Contact, attention, discrimination, feeling. Wow, that's amazing. Goans are special, that's amazing. Okay, you already have it, good. Okay, so there, now let's say that of the number 5 is the intention where either it is intention to embrace or to reject. When reject, this is stress. When embrace, this is joy, peace, calmness, tranquility. You're getting it? What do you want? You want embrace, you want joy and peace. In which case, you have to embrace the object. How to embrace the object? Sometimes we face situations where your mind invariably rejects. Your mind rejects the object. So there, say your mind is just a play of your mind. It's just a play of your mind. For example, let's say that suddenly Goa, the temperature dips down to 7 degrees centigrade. What will happen? You'll feel cold. Then, okay, feeling cold is okay, wear a sweater is okay, but people start complaining. Complaining means your mind is agitated. You're getting it? Your mind is agitated. What happened? What is happening? On which of the level? Something is happening? On the level of intention. Say, putting on the sweater because of the feeling. But complaining because of agitation. Number intention. You're getting it? So the problem is not actually with the feeling, problem with the intention. Some people complain faster. Some people complain will take time. You getting it? Some people, they're resilient. They will not complain very easily. When they complain, it's very serious. Some people, for small things, they complain. Right? Temperature dips to 19 degrees centigrade. Oh, the coldest weather is so terribly cold. Goa is terrible. 19 degrees is so pleasant. You're getting it? Okay. So you instantly you start complaining. You feel irritated, agitated. So the temperature 20 something, what? 25, 26, 27, again you complain. It is the hottest summer in Goa. You're getting it? So where the complaint means purely on the intention level. So why this? Because of the feeling. Don't forget it. Unpleasant feeling. How to fix it? By changing the unpleasant feeling to the pleasant feeling. How to fix it? Changing the discrimination. What is changing the discrimination? Discrimination involves two things. Discrimination is, for the discrimination, you need to acquire the information. You're getting it? For example, who is going to be more susceptible to the fear? Somebody who arrives in Goa, who has been in Goa the last 20 years, or somebody who's coming to Goa for the first time. Who can be more scared of being alone in Goa? The one who's new. Because the person does not have enough information. A person doesn't have enough information. With the proper information, then the discrimination will be better. With the better discrimination, you can change the feeling from unpleasant to the pleasant. With this, the mind will embrace Goa rather than reject Goa. You getting it? So, embracing, this is the treatment, mental healing. That is a real healing. So therefore, if you know this, then we see that discrimination plays a very important role. Discrimination is where your mind thinks properly, discriminate things properly. Discrimination per se, it can have negative connotation, it can be neutral also, like gender discrimination, racial discrimination, and so forth. These are negative connotation, but here, in this context, this is very neutral. It does not have any connotation of something negative, right? So discrimination means something to distinguish things. What is right from wrong, what you do, a broader perspective, deeper perspective. So that is coming from the information, proper information, wise information. Information comes from, discrimination comes from where? Contact. Number 2, contact. Attention, paying attention. Paying attention to the information. Information comes from contact with the correct information. You getting it? Contact, and you pay attention to this, then the discrimination will play. Okay, so for this, now tomorrow we'll go through this very quickly. I will stop here. So we are overshooting the time now. So the 5 points which I have is summed up from all what I've learned for all these like 30 years. The 5 points there, these are what I summed up. And then this is all about, say, either to change the discrimination, or you will see that tomorrow, or to build, they train the mind to be resilient. For example, let's say that Dr. Savitaji said that nowadays the students, their attention span is 40 minutes. 40 minutes. 40 minutes, right? So attention span is much less. Which means, what do you mean by attention span is less? Hey, the younger ones, particularly maybe I'm sure it's the younger one. Okay. Tell me what do you mean by attention span is less? Raise hands. Hey, younger ones. Yes, hey. Yes. Yes. You are. Your mind is distracted. Okay. But Dr. Savitaji, I don't believe what you said, because the attention is already 1.5 hours, more than 40 hours, 40 minutes. Attention is amazing. Oh, no, I'm joking. Okay, so attention span means, let's say, the span of the time where you pay attention, and then after this, you are scattered. Your mind is scattered. Which means that, is it voluntarily scattered or involuntarily scattered? Involuntarily scattered. You're getting it? So here we require training, whereby that your mind is not weak. Involuntary scattered means that your mind is weak, that after 40 minutes, there's no choice other than to be scattered. There's a weakness, this is not a strength. Whereas we can be focused, where others cannot focus for more than 40 minutes, you can focus for like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, means that you have a mental power. how to build that mental power. So which means that, for example, say you come here, okay, today I'm excited to learn about managing the emotions, I'm so happy, right? So it's a little bit of break from the regular class, you sit down, and somebody who you dislike, the person also shows up. What happens to your mind? Your mind feels disturbed. You're getting it? What's happening? Number 5 is activated, intention to reject. You getting it? Okay. So there, hey, don't feel disturbed, right? Just ignore. You cannot ignore. You getting it? You have seen the mind, you have seen the person passing by, that person also, wants to learn how to calm himself or herself down, that when he or she sees you, that he or she does not feel disturbed. You getting it? That poor person also comes there and you feel disturbed, right? So if I tell you, hey, don't feel disturbed, still your mind does not listen to you. You don't want to be disturbed, but your mind is agitated. Your mind is disturbed, irritated. You getting it? So there, the mind does not have the strength to remain strong, not be wavered, not distracted, not disturbed. Does not have the strength. How do we build the strength? Number 1, building the power and the gravity of the concentration. There's a special technique there. This is number 1. So if that happens, the situation is there whereby you will feel grief. Otherwise, you can easily feel grief. Otherwise, so this mental intention can manifest in the form of grief. Mental intention can manifest in the form of loneliness. Mental intention can manifest in the form of anger, agitation. So there, if you train your mind to be very steady and firm, then you will not feel the grief, you will not feel the anger, you will not feel the loneliness. You getting it? Because your mind, you are able to manage the mind not to be rejecting the object. It's very firm. That's number 1. Then number 2 is, things are all impermanent. So say I'm already in my 20s, I'm already in my 30s, 40s, 50s. See the people, very disturbing person 10 years ago, now no more there. For that person, I'm no more there. For me, that person, no more there. You're going to get this impermanent, is part, but don't worry, right? So thinking of number 2, instability of the reality, impermanence of the reality, ephemerality of the reality. We see that, okay, it's fine, then your mind will feel the calmness, number 2. Number 3 is the universal compassion. How the mother feels towards the child, right? If you see a wall dirtied by a sketched by another person, you'll feel so angry to see the wall dirty. But in our mother's eyes, the sketch by the small child, this is painting. You're getting it? It's beautiful painting. Because of love and affection, that the agitation subsides. You're getting it? So the mind will not reject, mind will embrace to see that as a painting. There's universal compassion. This is another way of tackling your emotions. Then the next one is reflecting on the relativistic reality. Things don't really exist as so independent and real. They're all relative. They exist in relative terms. For example, let's say that your neighbor, who always throws garbage next to your door. You're so angry. And then the neighbor leaves, you're very happy. The next neighbor comes, because your landlord will not keep the house vacant. The next neighbor comes. Not only throws garbage, also plays a loud music on Sunday mornings. Right? Then you will miss your earlier neighbor. You're getting it? That is seeing things in relative terms. So, seeing these relative terms, the unpleasant feeling will change to pleasant feeling. Then the mind will embrace the earlier neighbor, will not reject. Your mind will feel the calmness. And then finally, number 5, this is what we're going to study from tomorrow. Number 5, finally, we see one thing in common in all these cases, that your mind comes in contact with the object. Yes? Then all these things happen. Agitation, all these things happen. So this object, what the object is, let's say that Okay, say there's somebody who you dislike, and I bring this person, deliberately I bring this person to provoke you, right? What you feel? You feel so agitated. You agree? Versus, I ask you to imagine this person. I don't bring the person, but I ask you to imagine the person. You imagine the person, which of the two will make you more irritated? The first one, where the person, you really see the person. Okay, now before we wind this up, you tell me. The first case, where I bring the person who you dislike. Person, you feel really agitated. Versus, I ask you to imagine the person. Of the two, the first one gives you more agitation. Tell me why. Then we'll stop. Anyone? Imagination, you have a control. You can stop it. Very good. Anyone else? One is imagination, one is real. So, say, of the two, no, what I'm saying is, two situations, of the two situations, what we agreed is that, with the first situation where the person who dislike actually comes, you feel agitated. In the second case, I don't bring the person, but I tell you to think of the person, imagine the person. Of the two, we said that the first situation triggers more agitation. My question is why? One is realistic there, objectively there. The lady over there. Mind actually contacts with the external object as a person. In the second case, your mind does not come in contact with the external object. It's just your mind imagining. You getting it? Do you agree with me that in the first case, how they put them? In the first case, it's like what this girl said. The first is like objective. Second one is like subjective. You agree? Okay, so this person, when I bring him as a real person, that is why the agitation is there, because I see this objectively real. In the second case, I imagine it, it's just purely subjective, so the agitation is less. From this, what we learn is that mental agitation on the level of, on the 5. Okay, intention, this rejection happens stronger when you see things as objectively real. Yes? When you see things subjective, then the rejection is less. Mind is more calm. You agree? Good. So this text which we're going to study tomorrow is how to see things as all subjective so that mental agitation stops completely. Okay, dream is subjective, objective. Speak, hey, louder before we leave now. Don't feel shy. Dream, subjective, objective. Subjective, very good. Mirage, objective, subjective. Subjective, very good. Rainbow, objective, subjective. Okay, rainbow is interesting. How many of you say the subjective? Raise hands. Rainbow is subjective. How many say objective? Raise hands. Okay, so there's a split in the group. Some say objective, some say subjective. Those who say objective say, if a child is with you and asks you to take you to the object, what's the object? The dream. Will you, not the dream, the rainbow. Will you take the child to the rainbow from where the rainbow appears? Those who said objective, will you take the child to the object? Object means the rainbow. No, what I'm saying is, say there's a rainbow which hits 1 kilometer away from you, right? Away from you. And that rainbow that you are seeing, that all are seeing, is that objective or subjective? Objective. If objective, if the child says, I want to play with the rainbow, please take me there, will you take the child there? You can see it, but you cannot take the child there. If you take the child there, you're also a small child. You're getting it? Because you know that closer you go to the rainbow, you cannot find the rainbow. You're getting it? Rainbow will disappear. So it is not from the object. But those of you who said it's objective, don't worry. This is not the major discussion. Tomorrow what we're going to learn is finally that in the dream, how many of you have, in the dream, how many of you have dreamt the dream as real? Raise hands. How many of you have seen the dream as real in the dream? Raise hands. How many have been seeing the dream? When you have the dream, oh, it's interesting, very interesting dream, right? See the dream as dream. Raise hands. All the time. You see dream as real? Most of the cases you see dream as dream or dream as real. Dream as real. No, most cases, right? Sometimes, once in a while, you can see dream as dream. Okay. So seeing the dream as dream, in the dream, how many of you had the experience of deep, deep fear? Raise hands. How many had deep fear in dream? Okay. So do you agree with me that it's because of seeing the dream as real? Yes? Seeing the dream as real, it happens in the dream or outside dream? Seeing the dream as real, it happens in the dream or outside the dream? Inside the dream. So seeing the dream as real, is it wisdom or is it ignorance? It's ignorance. And what's the outcome? Fear. You're getting it? Seeing the dream as dream. Seeing the dream as not real. Happens in the dream or outside dream? Let me repeat it. Seeing the dream as not real. Happens in the dream or outside dream? Outside the dream. Seeing the dream as not real. Is it ignorance or wisdom? Wisdom. And the fear dissolves or fear arises, increases? Fear dissolves. So, seeing the dream as dream, seeing the dream as not being real, that is the wisdom, and the outcome of the wisdom is your fear dissolves. Seeing the dream as real, that happens in the dream, that is ignorance, and the outcome is the fear. You getting it? And what do you want? The fear or the lack of fear? Freedom from fear is what you want. So fear, not fear, is happening on the intention level. You're getting it? So how to change this intention is by changing the discrimination. How to change? By changing the feeling. How to change the feeling is by changing the discrimination. How to change discrimination is by getting the proper information, attention, and the contact with the proper information. What is that information? Information that same of the 5 ways which of the 5, we are talking about the 5th one. So if we work on number 1, 2, 3, 4, we have to work on these if you don't want the mental agitation, stress, and so forth. And number 5th one is extremely profound. If you get it, then you will see that, usually what we call as, oh, this is a problem of life, you have to face it. You don't really have to go, it's not that we have to be desperate, right? In fact, with number 5, you see that all problems have a solution. It's not that you have to face it, right? So this is what we're going to study from tomorrow. Okay, so this is what you are expected to have. If you have it, when good, and if some of you, even the soft copy is also available. As those of you who have your mobile or your iPad on which you can work, you can request for the soft copies. Okay, we'll stop here for today.